Welcome to Breezy. We're taking a look at the basics of Breezy HR to help you get up and running. We'll cover getting around the platform, how to add users to your account, how to create positions, how to design your career page, and how to work with candidates. We'll also see some of the more advanced features and functions that are available. So let's get started. The dashboard is where you'll land whenever you sign into Breezy, or when you click the Home button in the left sidebar. You'll see information here that's relevant to your own work in Breezy. In our example, we're working on all these positions that you see in the My Positions section. Any new candidates that have applied for those positions will show up in the New Candidates tab. Upcoming meetings that are scheduled, tasks that are due, and conversations with candidates for these positions will show up in the dashboard view as well. If you're an admin, one of the first things you'll probably want to do is invite other people to join your team in Breezy. Click the gear icon in the left sidebar and go to Company Settings, then Manage Members. You can invite members to join your account by simply typing in their email address and choosing a company role, administrator or member. You also have the option to enable an employee auto-join link, which will let users sign up using a URL that's generated right here. Breezy also supports single sign-on for your team. The next thing on your list is probably to set up the career page that will showcase your job openings. To do that, click the gear icon, hover over Recruiting Preferences, and click Career Portal Settings. Breezy's Career Site tool makes it very simple to create and publish a careers page for your website. The design tool has loads of customization options, including the ability to insert custom CSS and JavaScript. Once you've customized your settings, the end result would look something like this Acme page. You can have the page branded however you like, and you can include some information about your organization. You can upload any media you'd like to have on the page, and as you publish jobs through Breezy, they'll be listed on your careers page for candidates to check out and apply. You can also set up an employee portal with Breezy to let current employees either apply for internal positions you might have or submit referrals for any of your open positions. Those are all tracked within Breezy. Both the career portal and the employee portal are set up in your recruiting preferences. The employee portal settings are right below the career portal settings we saw earlier. Now that you've got your career page designed and users added into the account, the next step would be to create positions. To do that, you can hit the Positions and Pools link in the left sidebar and you'll see a list view of all your positions. Anything with a green dot next to it is an active position or pool. If you have anything with a blue dot, that means it's in a draft status. And if you've closed out a position, you'll see a gray dot next to it. You can change the status of a position or pool directly from this list view by just clicking that dot. To create a position, click the Add Position button in the top right corner. You'll go through a series of sections to add the info you need to create a position. Step 1 of this process involves entering the basics of the job, like the title, the location, and the job description. The next step is to define the application form itself. There's a series of standard fields that you can enable or disable based on your preferences. You can see in our example that you also have the option to expand your application by adding custom questions using questionnaires. Questionnaires are just a series of questions that you can create with different response types. Your options range from things like text or paragraph-based responses to multiple choice questions or even one-way video responses. If you're using multiple choice or drop-down lists, you also have the option to move candidates based on an answer they provide. Many companies use this as a way to screen applicants directly from the initial application process. An example would be if you created a multiple choice question that asked the applicant if they're over the age of 18. If a candidate answers no, you could automatically move them into a disqualified stage of your recruiting process. Video responses are also very popular for certain types of roles. With these, you can ask text-based questions and the candidate can record their response for up to 1, 2, or 5 minutes. These recordings will show up on the candidate's profile once they've completed the application. When you create a questionnaire, it's saved in Breezy. So when you're creating a new position and want to reuse questions, you can just pick a questionnaire from the list to include it on the application. Questionnaires can also be sent to candidates after they've applied. Many companies tend to have a fairly short initial application, but will either manually or automatically trigger a questionnaire to be sent as soon as someone applies, so they can collect additional info for screening. Choosing a pipeline is the next step in setting up your position. This is where you define what the recruiting workflow is going to look like for this particular job in Breezy. You can create a single pipeline to use across all your positions, or you can build and design multiple pipelines and then associate the one that makes the most sense for each position. Next, you can decide whether you're going to use a scorecard with your position. Similar to pipelines, you can create and save multiple scorecards, then pick the one that makes the most sense for each position. Scorecards are something we highly recommend, especially if you want to have a standardized feedback process for your team. Once you've associated a scorecard with the position, everyone from the hiring team will be able to rank or rate candidates against the same set of criteria. Now you can decide where the job is going to be published. We integrate with quite a few free job boards. If you enable free advertising, your position will go out to all of those. We also integrate with many premium job boards. So if you wanted to get extra visibility or increase candidate volume for certain roles, you can promote your jobs to any of the premium boards you see. The last step is to define the hiring team for the position. This is where you can add users so they can view the candidates for the specific job. There are two permission levels for hiring teams: hiring manager and member. Hiring managers can add, manage, and communicate with candidates. Members can review candidates and provide feedback, plus participate in interviews and complete scorecards. If you ever use external recruiters to fill any of your positions, you can add them directly to a position as well. This doesn't give these recruiters any access to your data or the Breezy platform. They'll just have access to either a web portal or a position-specific email address they can submit candidates to. Breezy will track who submitted each candidate so you can easily report on your sources. Once the position is live, you'll see it on your career page, and typically within 24 hours, it will be posted on the job boards you've selected. From here, the candidate's experience is very straightforward. Once an applicant hits apply, the job description you added will load. Click apply once more, and the application form opens with whatever questions you included. Once the applicant completes this and hits submit, their job is done. Once you've published a position and some candidates have applied, the next step would be to open the position to review those applicants. When we click into this Deputy Director position, we'll see a view of the position pipeline with the applicants in the various stages of the recruiting process. When we click on a candidate, we'll see their complete profile. The left-hand side of a candidate's record will have all their application details. Their contact details are populated automatically, as well as a parsed version of their resume. Anything parsed from the resume, as well as anything you might have tagged a candidate's record with, will be searchable in Breezy. A full copy of the candidate's resume is also available. You can print it out, download it, or view it full screen. Any files a candidate submitted as part of their application process or via questionnaires later on will be available in their record here. If they'd responded to questionnaires, you'll be able to see their responses right here in the questionnaire section, including things like video responses. If candidates had done reference checks, or if you'd run background checks on them or triggered assessments, you'd be able to see the results of all those here as well. The right-hand side of the profile has an area for team discussion, where you and the rest of the hiring team can have an internal conversation about a candidate. It supports @mentions, so you can directly message another member of the hiring team with a comment. Whoever you message will get an email notification with a link back to the candidate's profile in order to reply back to your comment or to take action. If you have the iOS or Android mobile apps installed, you can also get notifications on your phone and review candidates, participate in team discussions, and provide feedback, along with many other functions, right from the app. You can send and receive email and SMS messages with candidates right in Breezy. And if you use Office 365 or Gmail, you can integrate your emails, so whenever you're sending emails to candidates, they'll be synced up with your regular email account. To enable the integration, click the gear icon, go to User Settings, and find the option to enable Google Calendar, Outlook Calendar, Gmail, or Outlook Mail. You'll also see an option to enable the Slack integration. Once your mail integration is enabled, when you type out an email or use a template that you might have saved, we'll see how to set up templates in just a bit, the email will show up in your sent items right in Outlook or Gmail. If a candidate replies, the reply would also go directly to your Gmail or Outlook as well. You can carry on a conversation with the candidate directly from your regular mail platform, but a full history of those emails will sync up inside Breezy. Similar to emails, you can also text candidates in countries where we support SMS. Simply type out a text, hit send, or choose to delay the text if you want to. You can even use text templates, just like with emails. You'll get an email notification if a candidate replies, and you can respond back to them directly from those emails. If you click the Schedule Interview button, you'll see a window that lets you set a specific date and time for an interview. You can set a duration for the interview, choose the members of the hiring team who will participate, and send an invitation to the candidate. If you and your team have your calendars integrated, clicking the Availability button will show you the interviewing team's free and busy schedule for that day. If you hold panel interviews, you can also use the Add Interview button to set up additional times with different interviewers. Any interview can be made into a video interview, which can be recorded and is completely browser-based. There's no need for the candidates or for the hiring team to download any special software. If an interview was recorded, the recording would show up in the attachments section of the candidate's profile for you to view or download. With this method of scheduling interviews, you can give candidates a specific time or a set of times to meet with various people from the hiring team. Another way to set up interviews is with self-scheduling, which lets candidates choose a time for themselves. If you click the gear icon and go to Recruiting Preferences, you'll see an option for scheduling links. Scheduling links operate very similar to tools like Calendly. You define the days of the week that you or the hiring team are available for interviews, as well as increments of time and times a day the candidates can book interviews with you. Once you've set up a scheduling link, you can simply insert that into an email or text message and send it off to a candidate from their profile. When you send the link to a candidate, they can click it to see the days you've made available. Then they can click a date to see the times that they can choose from and just book themselves for an interview. Scheduling links sync with your Google or Outlook calendar too. So if you have other candidates who booked certain time slots, or if you've had other meetings take up slots that you originally defined as available, those won't be displayed to the candidate. You can also automate sending scheduling links by setting up stage actions, which we'll cover in a minute. If you've set up scorecards on the position, every candidate for that position will have a scorecard that everyone from the hiring team can use to rank or rate them. Scorecards always have a section for general comments about a candidate, as well as an area for an overall rating. Any subcategories that you've created on the scorecard will appear below, so the hiring team can rate the candidates. Once your team has rated these candidates, that information is aggregated in the Scorecards tab, so hiring managers can see, all in one place, who from the team has provided the ratings, what the ratings were, and any written feedback they added. There's also an option to log notes about the candidate. You can add completely private notes, which are not visible to anyone else, or you can make a note public. Public notes are visible to other members of the hiring team under the Team Notes section of the candidate's profile. A few other quick things. In the top right corner of the candidate view, you've got the option to move the candidate between stages by choosing the stage you want to move them to right here. You can also just drag and drop candidates into the various stages of the recruiting pipeline. You can also copy candidates or move candidates between positions if you think they might be a better fit for a different role, or if you want to move them into a talent pool. The Move option will completely move the candidate from the current position and carry much of their profile info over to the position or pool you're moving them to. The Copy option will create a copy of the candidate's basic information in the other position or pool, so they can be considered for multiple positions. You can also create tasks for yourself or assign tasks to someone else, and they'll get email notifications and reminders about the task. You can also print out a candidate's profile or generate a shareable link to this candidate's initial application form. In addition to the pipeline view we've been on so far, you can also click the Candidates tab at the top of the screen to switch to a list view of all the candidates for the position. You can do several things from here. The first thing is to take bulk actions. For example, you could select a bunch of candidates and send them a mass email, or you could move them in bulk from one stage of the pipeline to another. You could send them questionnaires in bulk, or delete them, or even export their data in a CSV file. On the left-hand side, you'll see options to filter the list of candidates. There are many filter options, and you can select any of them to limit your view to just the candidates in a particular stage, or by a certain tag, for example. The Filter by Text option lets you do simple keyword searches or Boolean searches within the list of candidates. If you type in a keyword, the system will search across any information parsed from the candidates' resumes or anything they've been tagged with. Or you could do a Boolean search across the same fields and get the results based on that. You can search and filter candidates across all the positions you have access to as well. Click Candidates in the left sidebar, and you can get results from the candidates in any of those positions or pools. Now we'll cover some of the customization options available in Breezy. Just click the gear icon and point to Recruiting Preferences to see a list of options. We'll start with Pipeline Stages. Clicking Pipeline Stages will show you a list of all the pipelines that you have available. You can create new pipelines or edit existing ones. Clicking the Show option next to each pipeline will show you a list of all the positions that are using that pipeline. If you click the Edit icon, you'll see a list of all the stages that are associated with that pipeline. You can add more stages, delete stages, or reorder them if you want to. You can also click into a stage and rename it to something different. Inside each stage, you've also got the option to set up stage actions. Stage actions are automations that trigger when candidates first enter a particular stage. A simple example would be to have a stage action that triggers an email or text message whenever candidates enter the Applied stage. You could have those triggered either immediately or with a delay. Some of the other options include sending off questionnaires, triggering nurture campaigns, which are essentially a series of emails you can create and send out, sending an assessment to candidates, requesting feedback to ask the hiring team to fill out scorecards. You could push records off into an HRIS system that we integrate with, or move candidates based on the results from background checks you're running from inside Breezy. These stage actions can help save a lot of time on your end. For example, if you have candidates applying, you might like to notify them that you received their application. You could trigger an email that goes out every time someone enters the Applied stage, letting them know you got their application. Similarly, if you move someone into a disqualified stage, you might want to send an automated rejection email. You could set that up in the correct stage of your pipeline. Once these stage actions are set up, the automations will trigger as you move candidates between the stages on your pipeline. You can create email and text message templates in your recruiting preferences as well. It's simple. Just click the Add Email or SMS Template button. You can enter the body of the message and insert template variables to personalize them. You can also insert scheduling links right into your templates. We talked about scheduling links earlier. This is where you can edit those and create new ones. We just touched on nurture campaigns a minute ago. With these, you can create a sequence of emails to go out to candidates at a predefined cadence. Nurture campaigns are typically used when you're creating talent pools or sourcing candidates, but can also be used inside a position. Let's say you've chosen not to hire a candidate, but you think they might be a good person to stay in touch with for future roles. Instead of just disqualifying them, you could move them into a nurture campaign stage and have a sequence of emails go out to them to stay in touch and keep them engaged with your company. You can also access and create your custom scorecards here in your recruiting preferences. Besides posting jobs and relying on candidates to apply through your career page or job boards, you can also source candidates into Breezy. There are several ways to do this. First, inside any position that you're associated with, you'll see a blue Add Candidate button on the right-hand side. By clicking that, you can simply type in someone's name and email address to create a candidate record. If you've got a single CV or even a batch of resumes, you can upload those and Breezy will parse and create records with the data. You can also bulk import from a CSV file. Creating talent pools is very similar to creating positions. In a list of positions or pools, you'll see a blue Add Pool button. Click that and follow a series of steps. The first step is just to give the pool a title, then choose a pipeline. You can choose to associate a scorecard with the pool. The same scorecards that are available for positions are also available for pools. Finally, define the hiring team for the pool just like you would for a position. Once the pool is active, you can open it and see exactly the same view you would see for a position. All the functionality we saw for a candidate in a position is the same within a pool, including things like the Add Candidate button, the ability to email and text them, schedule interviews, and fill out scorecards. One of the other options you have is to source passive candidates directly from your site using the Hello Messenger tool. To use that, go to your recruiting preferences and find Integrations. Scroll down to the sourcing section and click to enable Hello Messenger. When you enable the messenger, you'll have several options to customize. First, you'll need to choose a pool for your sourced candidates to be added to. Then you can configure the appearance of the messenger platform and customize the greeting the messenger will pop up with. If you'd like to embed the messenger on your own site, there's a snippet of HTML you can use for that. Once you've enabled Hello Messenger on your career page, it will pop up whenever a candidate is browsing the site but hasn't necessarily applied for a position. It shows them the message you defined, and if the candidate engages, it will prompt them to provide their basic contact details and upload a resume. If they do, you'll be able to find them in whichever pool you associated with the messenger. You can interact with them in exactly the same way as candidates inside a position. Every position in Breezy has reports built in. Click the Reports tab on the top right corner of a position. Set the date range you want to run the reports for, and you can get an overview of the position, a breakdown of which job boards candidates are coming from, as well as how your team has scored the candidates from those various job boards. If you had sourced or referral candidates, you'd be able to get breakdowns for each of those. You can also look at things like pipeline metrics to see how many candidates are moving forward through the various stages of your recruiting funnel, as well as how long on average it takes for candidates to move through those stages. These reports are available on each position, but if you click Reports in the left sidebar, you'll also be able to run reports across all your positions. Plus, there's data around things like time to fill, average time to hire, and a summary of all your open positions, how long they've been open, and how many candidates you have in each of them. You can find more details about each report in our Help Center. There's lots more to see in Breezy, but here's just a few quick things. In addition to sending regular emails, you can also send electronic signature documents right from Breezy. So if you'd like to set up a basic onboarding process, you can do it right in the platform. Documents like offer letters, non-competes, contracts, and so on can be uploaded into e-signature templates. You could trigger sending those to a candidate in exactly the same way you would a regular email. So if we go to a candidate's profile and choose e-signature templates, we could fire off an email with the attachment right from here. To see all the integrations available in Breezy, open Recruiting Preferences and find the Integrations section. We mentioned the Slack integration, which is great. Lots of notifications that Breezy generates can be routed directly to Slack. You can actually respond to candidate messages, have conversations with hiring teams, or complete tasks directly from Slack. We integrate with several background check providers. If you have accounts with any of them, you can enable the integration to request background checks and get the results right in Breezy. We also integrate with quite a few HRIS platforms. If you have these integrations enabled, you can push a candidate's record directly into one of these platforms manually or even automatically when they hit a certain stage. We integrate with assessment vendors, so you could trigger an assessment to a candidate and get the results back directly inside Breezy. We also support Zapier, so you could set up basic integrations if you wanted to. Then there are various job boards we have integrations with, plus Single Sign-On and Hello Messenger. And lastly, we've got Open API if you ever need to do any sort of custom integration. If you have any questions, check out our Help Center at help.breezy.hr. It's also linked in the Breezy settings menu. We also have live support via chat and email, so you can connect with a real-life person for help. If you're on a plan with a dedicated account manager, you can reach out to them directly. Thanks for watching.